you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hi everyone, thanks for listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
And we are #Pauliano. And we've got some tips for you today. The first one we wanted to get into was how to avoid getting discouraged. And we've talked about something similar to this recently. I just wanted to touch on it a little more because I think that last time we kind of focused a little more on like setting small attainable goals for yourself, which is definitely part of it. This time, though, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that a lot of people, guys and girls, that this is a big problem for a lot of people, that they'll go to the gym or like watch videos and they're like, man, look at him,
right?
You know, or her, and they are like, oh, well, I'll never look like that, and they use that as like an excuse to stop going. Like, well, what's the point, almost? And I wanted to bring that up because there are certain things, and then people too, they tend to develop that like stigma, like, oh, that guy's probably a real big like a-hole, or, you know, like you see a guy that's really muscular and you kind of make assumptions about them, or you see a girl in like great shape and you're probably like, oh, she's probably like unapproachable and really like, you know, and it's, to me, that kind of creates a negative, like, other than not going to the gym, which is a physical thing, it stresses you and it kind of closes off your mind a little bit, which is also like a mental/emotional thing. And I think that breaking down some of those myths, I guess we should call them, could be good for you in a lot of different ways. Right. You know, it allows you to open up a little bit. Because number one, people at the gym tend to be really nice. You'll find mean or rude people everywhere on the planet, but the majority of people that I've ever met or dealt with at the gym are usually pretty nice, pretty conscientious people. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. And you can't in or out of the gym, I guess, you can't let someone that looks a certain way kind of create like a stereotype for you, you know? I've met some like really big buff guys that were a little like rude, you know, and a little like cocky. I mean, is okay. I'm not really like against cocky, but if you're mean about it, that's a problem. But the overwhelming majority are pretty cool people.
I think so too.
Pretty like down to earth. Same thing with the fit chicks. They really nice, you know, really like humble. Like even though they look great, like they look like models, you know, right? They're really nice people, you know, and it's almost refreshing because I, at least, you know, I'm 23 and like I'm so used to like the stigma of I get like the reverse racism but of man to woman type thing, if that makes sense. Like a lot of women are under the impression like, oh, guys are such pigs, or guys are, you know, there's a lot of that. So I get the backlash from that. Yeah. So like I think a girl's pretty or whatever and I approach her with, you know, decent enough intentions and they're immediately like, oh my God, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, man, you know, it fights against you.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's refreshing that you're like, man, this lady looks like she's airbrushed and she's right there, you know? And like it's incredible. And it's especially incredible considering they tend to be like 35, 40, and they look better than some like 19-year-olds, you know? Yeah. And you have to respect that because that takes work. You know, your metabolism isn't made out of magic anymore, but you put in the effort and you have to appreciate that. And they're really nice. That's just insane, you know?
Yeah, and I think because they can like, I think when it comes to people who spend so much time and dedicate so much time into like their bodies and working hard to achieve certain like goals, especially when it comes to their bodies and things like that, I think one reason why people are more humble about it is because it's hard work and they understand.
Exactly. They understand that it
yeah. And they can kind of like appreciate, especially if you're trying and you are asking for help or advice or just, you know, like input, and you're being genuine about it because you are trying to better yourself too. They can relate to that because they understand, because somebody
they've been there.
Had to help them get to that place, whether it was somebody through like TV or somebody just at the gym too, who they just asked to help them, or a good friend. Like, you still have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And so I think that's why a lot of them are so comfortable with like helping you too and are willing to help you if you ask, because they know that they had to ask somebody too.
Exactly.
And so, and it's like, and especially because it's something that they love and they know that you're trying to better yourself, why not help? You know?
That's totally true. But the piece of that interests me in terms of this topic,
right,
is not so much like look at how nice these people are and why. What interests me is kind of the reverse of that, which is instead of closing people off because it's safer and easier, I get it, to assume something about someone.
right.
Why don't you take that little leap? Everybody starts somewhere. Work on your body a little bit. You can be that person.
Yeah.
Instead of, being jealous of that person or something, you can become that person. It's not an impossibility. Everyone has it within them, to eat a little healthier, to lift a little more, or, or run a little more, whatever your goal is. But the mental aspect of it, kind of the relaxation aspect of it, that, you de-stress yourself, you feel clearer, you feel kind of happier and calmer. And you feel more confident, which only adds to those other points. It's overwhelmingly good for you. And I think the message we're trying to push through here is like, it's either annoying or it's inconvenient to start working out. You build it up to be something so much harder or bigger than it is.
Right.
And that, I'm trying to kind of display think of the psychological aspects of that. So you decide something is too big for you. You decide you're too small for this. You decide it's too hard for you. I can't do this. That is kind of a negative. You know how things snowball, and that's what I mean. Like don't fall into that stigma, because then it only gets worse from there. Oh, well, if I can't, then I might as well eat like this. Oh, well, I mean, if I'm going to eat like this, then I might as well whatever.
Yeah. It does snowball.
You see
it
what
really
I'm saying?
does.
And it creates those different thoughts. Like, oh, look at that guy. I bet he spends all his time in the gym. He's probably on steroids. He's probably, they're just like, they're negative thoughts. So you have to be careful how you kind of regulate yourself internally. I'm not even talking fitness here. I'm talking just what it allows you to do in terms of a person, how it allows you to flourish. I've met so many people that are like really shy. They lift and they realize they love it, and then all of a sudden they're a totally different person. Not because muscles doesn't have anything to do with that, but finding something that you can do for yourself, by yourself.
Right.
It's a means to an end. It's like an artist with a canvas,
Yeah, that is actually a pretty good way to look at it.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's just a way of expressing, and that's what I was trying to get through to people was, instead of discouraging yourself and you see that like negative cycle, recognize that it is just a cycle. Things are never as hard as we make it out to be. As your mind makes it out to be. I call it this all the time. I call it the human being in the dark stigma. There's probably nothing there, but you make it real. You scare yourself.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Probably nobody's judging you. Like I don't think I've ever really gone to the gym, and I've gone in pretty big groups before, where someone is looking at someone that's not in as decent shape or doesn't like know what they're doing. No one actually sits around and judges you. This isn't like
people don't have time. Like people,
exactly.
Yeah,
this isn't like a 90s high
you.
school flick. People are doing their own thing, and it's even come to the point where I've seen a guy kind of mosey around the gym and he looks lost, and he almost has those like puppy dog eyes. Like he sees me and my friends training hard for whatever it is, and like back, chest, whatever, and like I find him continuing to like look over at us.
Right.
So I just invite him over, like, here, jump in.
Yeah.
And they try to be polite. They're like, oh no, and I'm like, no, it's okay, just, And I respect like the politeness. I respect him trying to not.
And just
to not like impose.
Impose.
But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? No, I invited. Like, here, just come hit this. Now do it like this. Now do it like this. And then next thing you know, this guy that was too shy to say anything, he tomorrow waltzes right up to my face and was like, hey, what are we doing today? And it just took that one little instant, and all of a sudden he's a little more social. Because I'm still a stranger. This is only day 2, but you have to respect that. And then I'll hit him too, like, all right, look, this is what we're gonna do. This, and this. But then now you got to work out the other little aspects of it. He's under the weight. He's pushing 6-7 reps. Okay, I'm done. No, you're not done. Push. And then he's like, oh crap, I'm afraid. So you help him through it, and it takes another like 4 reps before I even start to help.
Right.
So he really could have pushed out like 11 and he stopped at 7.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then I start to help. So he pushed out 16 in total. And I'm like, do you see what you just did there? And it's not about. It's definitely good to like help someone and try to help motivate them, but that's not what it's about. Like, I'm not, if this makes sense, I don't care so much about like, I don't want him to come to me one day and be like, hey, thanks for helping me.
Right.
I want him to look at himself one day and be like, hey, look, I got a little help, but ultimately look what I did.
Yeah.
Because I always tell my friends, one time I got a text from my friend, It was actually a really touching moment for me because I was on the phone with a girl that I had liked at the time, and I got a text like mid phone call, and I read it really quick, and I was like, oh man, that made me feel good. My friend was like, you know what? I've made like so many like improvements in the last like 30, 60 days, whatever. And really all I did for him was like help fix form and then push him a little bit to build weight. And he was trying to like thank me, and I was like, no man, like, you know what, I can give you tips and things here and there, but you know what I can't ever do is lift for you.
Actually do it for you.
So I'm like, you know, any gains that you're seeing, you got yourself, you know. I just guided you roughly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was GPS, but you drove, you know?
Yeah.
So it's and I tried to get him like, you know what, like thanks for thanking me. I appreciate it, but it's not that I don't want the gratitude. It's that I want you to take your own gratitude.
Exactly.
You did it.
Take the credit for what you've done.
Exactly. When I was in college, when I was in high school, I started college, and I had this econ professor that would always tell us like, my wife has a Porsche, I have a Porsche, all my kids have like iPhones and iPads. I've invested so much money into Porsche, so much money into Apple, but the smartest thing you could ever invest in is yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that goes for affection as well. You know, it's okay to be proud of yourself. It's okay to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah,
it doesn't make you weird. It doesn't make you narcissistic. You know,
you should be proud of the hard work that you're doing.
Exactly. And not enough people are because they're afraid of coming off as like as selfish or self-centered, or, you know. But I think that a healthy degree of it is not even okay. It's necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It develops that it's taking that negative cycle, because everything cycles, everything builds. It takes that negative cycle and you just flip it the other way, and then just let the positive roll in. You start to look better, so you start to feel better, so you start to lift harder, so you start to look even better, so you start to feel even better, so you lift even harder. You know, so it cycles over and over. So your confidence builds, so you're nicer to people. You're nicer to people, they're nicer to you back. So your confidence builds some more, so you're nicer. You know, like it kind of,
it can be either a negative snowball or a positive one.
Exactly.
Where it just starts growing and different things start happening and changing for you.
Exactly, and everything snowballs. You know, but we'll dive into this a little more. Let us just take a quick commercial break.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
And we are #Pauliano. Now, one thing that I wanted to dive straight into here was how to maximize workout time. And I know that we talked about something similar in a previous podcast about things that maybe like a single parent could do at home if you've got the kids and you don't want to go to the gym, and that makes total sense. But I'm talking now about people who do go to the gym,
right?
Because there are still ways where you can maximize time. When I was younger, this is no exaggeration, I did spend about 4 hours in the gym a day. About 6 days a week. And the crazy thing is, it's not that I worked out super crazy hard. Like I didn't think at the time that I was slacking, but I can definitely say today I get in more work in about an hour and a half.
Right.
You know, I work out smarter.
Than all that time.
Exactly. And it wasn't for lack of trying. I just didn't really know what I was doing.
Right.
So I'm wondering if just a little bit of direction, you know, can really save people some time and kind of boost the gains at the same time, which again would have that positive mental aspect, you know? How cool would it be if someone who thinks like, man, I have to spend hours and hours in the gym. In fact, I was on bodybuilding.com, and I love that site, by the way. They were talking about like the top myths of the gym, and that was one of them. Like, oh man, if I want to lose any kind of weight, I need to be in cardio for like forever.
Right.
And it's not true. It's not that hard, you know? Again, everything is a cycle. We'll think of it this way. Let's say you've been eating a little poorly, your metabolism's a little slow, you've got a lot of sodium in your body, so you're not that strong to lift.
Right.
So let's say you go one day and you lift a little bit. You know, you introduce yourself. Now you get in a big meal because you're hungry. You sleep really good because you're tired. So now the next day you're rested, you're hungry. The next workout's a little better. You know, and then that slowly starts to cycle, you know. You're really sore like 4 days later because those first few workouts are really, like, my legs are killing me right now. So you take a couple days rest, but you eat right during those days off, sleep right during those days off, stretch out maybe a little bit, and then you come back strong, ready to go. And like that's how the cycle, that's how these things kind of build and develop. But in terms of maximizing workout time, what I meant by this was when you get to the gym, a lot of guys make the mistake of they'll load up some weight, kind of pick up their phone and choose a song, and then get underneath the weight and then stretch out underneath the weight, lift it, do like 5-6 reps, rack it, and then sit there for like 90 seconds, 2 minutes, or talk to their friends about whatever, and then they'll adjust the weight to whatever they're going to put up or down, and then hit it again. Whereas if you walk straight in, when I go to the gym, it's strictly business. I have friends there that I see and everything, and I'll say hi, but I'm there to do something. I've got other obligations I need to get to throughout the day, so I make it quick. My quicker workouts, maybe 45, 50 minutes, longer depending on what I'm doing, like an hour and a half. But they've been killer, all of them. I've been really sore lately in way short time, but it's all about workout intensity. So let's say we jump in. Every guy loves to do chest and biceps,
Right.
So let's say I jump in there on a chest day. I'll rack. I weigh 154 pounds right now, so I'll start with a warm-up weight of, let's say, 95 pounds. That's 25-pound plates on each side of the bar. Now, I'll take the bar off the rack with good form, having my hands pretty like a good distance apart. And for me, I think for anyone, a great like guide is you'll notice those big bars, they're smooth in the middle, and then they start to get rough around where your hands grip. I take the ends of my thumbs right where the roughness starts, and I put my hands on the bar and then extend my thumbs out so that the length of my thumb is about how far away from the beginning of the roughness my hands are. And that's about a good width. And the taller you are, the longer your thumb. So, it kind of evens out there. Because if your arms are too wide, like you don't get the proper workout. So I'll do that, take the weight off, and it's light, 95 pounds, and I'll put it down on my chest and kind of hold it there. And I'll stretch with it on top of my chest, and I do this thing where like I get ready to lift, like I'm flexing my muscles, but I'm not moving it. Then push it up, and I'll do like 5-6 reps of that, and then I'll do it again. Those are just warm up sets. That doesn't count as my workout.
Yeah.
Then I'll up weight to like 100 and let's say 15 or something. Instead of jamming the weight up and down and bouncing it on my chest, I do slow, controlled reps. Let's say 15, maybe 20.
Control.
Yeah. If I'm feeling it though, if not 20, I'll do 15. If I'm really not feeling it, I'll have somebody spot me. Jump up 20 more pounds, 12, jump up 20 more pounds, 8. But the rest in between for me, this is my rule of thumb. Just however long it takes for me to get up, put the extra plates on, and then lay back down, that's my rest. There is no like rest period. And that usually takes, like 10 seconds.
Right.
It's just slide one on, clink, slide the other one on, clink, lay back down, find your grip, boom, hit it. Because you find that the purpose is to exhaust your muscles. And if you're giving yourself too much rest time, sure, technically you can push heavier weight. And it's good to push heavy weight if you're trying to build. But if I lift, like let's say 6 sets, but like throughout the day, I could just max out every set, if I'm doing like 2 hours rest in between.
Yeah.
But that's not going to build me, The point is to exhaust. So I push as heavy as I can. And then you kind of give yourself that sliding scale of now I'm going to push as heavy as I can, considering 20 seconds of rest. And I bang out like 5, 6, 7 sets in the time it takes the guy next to me to do like 2 or 3. And after that, waste no time. Take the weight that you just had on the other one, put it on the incline bench, do the same thing. 20-second rest, maybe. Just whatever it takes you to put the weight on, Or this is a great one, burnouts. Just do reps, have guys pull off plates, do more reps, and it's a nonstop, That's a good one. Stop messing with your phone. That's a huge one.
Yeah, I
Stop
think
talking
phones
to people.
Are probably the biggest distraction in the gym.
Exactly.
People are always on or like taking pictures.
Taking pictures. No, but the pictures, like the thing is, I'm totally into the whole like, not check yourself out, but you have to see the gains in order to stay motivated.
No, yeah, definitely.
But I take my progress pictures, like you saw my progress pictures, but I take those at home.
Yeah.
I don't even take my phone to the gym because if someone texts me, I'm like, I have like
then you get distracted.
Yeah.
If you get a phone call, it's like, oh, let me
Exactly.
just real quickly take this call and I'll come right back. Like,
And not just that, but it throws off your mental game. Like, so I'll come back and I'm like, okay.
You lose your focus.
Right. And you cool off too. So like if I'm lifting heavy and I'm just doing great, like, then I come back and I'm like, oh man, that's heavy. And like I drop weight.
Yeah.
It throws you off.
It does throw you
You got to keep your rhythm. So I actually don't even take my phone to the gym, but a lot of people think that's extreme. So leave it in the car or something. you have to consider that there is a such thing as non-compromisable me time. You know, everyone else can have me whenever they need to, especially if it's an emergency. But I have a certain amount of time, and it's less than 2 hours a day. That's not much, and it's only like 5-6 days a week, where no one can bother me. This is my time. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's important.
And that helps too.
It definitely helps.
Time.
Right. And knowing what you're doing helps a lot too. Don't just bounce around from doing some curls to doing some back to doing some legs. You're not gonna work anything. You know, it's not enough to overload your muscle, so you're not gaining anything. You know, sit there and focus on one thing. Focus on back, then focus on arms. You know, or focus on legs and focus on lower back. You know, do whatever it is that you went in there to do, and make sure you pre-exhaust the muscles, and then you finish them off. You know, otherwise there was no point of the workout. And that's what I always try to get through to people. And one more thing too is work always from the inside out. And what I mean is, if you're going to do like, whenever a chest day for me, I start with your chest, which is right in your torso, to shoulders and then triceps. Because if you do that in reverse, triceps, then let's say you try to do shoulders after that, it's hard to press up like military press weight when your triceps are tired, you know? Because your triceps help you in that motion.
Take into consideration what
exactly
you're working out at what time.
Exactly. And when you bench press, it's chest, shoulders, and triceps all together. So if I do it last, I'm really not going to be able to push, not enough to hurt but not enough to break down the chest muscles, you know, in order to help them rebuild. So you always work from the inside out. When I work legs, I start with a compound motion like a squat, you know, it works the lower back a little bit too. And then I extend out leg curls and leg extensions and then calves. Because if I try to do squats after calves, then my legs are shaking while I'm, you know, working from the inside out helps save that time too. Because I do the heavier lifts first because it pre-exhausts me. If I'm gonna sit, like let's say I do an ab workout, I can do a plank forever. I do planks so long that I just get bored. Like it's not, my muscles don't even get tired. So if I do those last, then I don't do them forever because I'm tired.
Exactly.
So if I'm doing like hanging leg raises, which are really hard, you know, or like clocks where you pick your legs up and then kind of swing side to side and hit your obliques, those I can't do that long. And then I'll do planks. So that's a smarter kind of time consumption strength there.
Exactly.
I can't do it the other way because after planks forever, then I get a little tired in my abs, but it's just enough that I can't do leg raises anymore. So, you know, always hit it. I hit heaviest lifts first, compound lifts first, like squats, deadlifts, bench press, and always work from the inside out, like from the core out to the limbs.
Yeah, that is really true.
You know, if you lift that way, you find that you save a lot of time. If you keep your rest periods short, your weight safely heavy. Always remember, form over weight. If your form's not right, the weight's too heavy. But considering form, heavy weight, the point is to push yourself, not to push the weight. You know, the point is not to bring the weight from here to here. The point is to exhaust and stretch the muscle.
Your muscles.
Right. So if you can do that, keep your rest periods short, you'll be having great workouts in a very short period of time. Thanks for listening, guys. We need to take just one more quick commercial break.
We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back. Thanks for listening, everyone, to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm the best sidekick ever, Pauline.
Exactly, and we were just laughing about let's dive right into this. So I thought that the best way to finish a podcast that was about avoiding getting discouraged and kind of maximizing workout time would be to go through maybe just a typical workout that one of us would do or both of us would do. And the reason behind this is I've gone through a lot of kind of evolution when it comes to working out. And I mean, from mindset to the way I approach my actual workout, like in a
Right.
physical sense, to the way I eat, to the way I sleep around it to kind of supplement it.
Has all grown with you.
Exactly. And
more
and
knowledge
adjusted
you
and
gain.
adapted.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I've actually gone to taking less supplements than I used to. Like, you know, you go through these kind of seasons, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to maybe I figure maybe if I can give somebody like a rough blueprint of something that I go through mentally, physically, that it might just be that little kind of spark,
A little bit of a boost.
exactly, that little bit of a boost that it gives them, and then next thing you know, they'll be looking up like, you know, bodybuilders on YouTube, and then from there they're good. You can
Mm-hmm.
do what you got to do because again, at the end of the day, you're putting in the work, not me.
Exactly.
You know, so let's just jump right into that. So when I was younger, my workouts used to be about heavy weight, which is a mistake, by the way, and about like time and reps. So what I meant by that was I would take, when I was younger, I maybe weighed about 146 pounds. I would take maybe like 100 and let's say 90 pounds at like incline bench press, and I would kind of slam it off my chest because I could get more reps out that way, 13, 14,
Yeah.
you know, and like yank it up, and I'd feel it more in my bones and my shoulders. And not just that, but it would take longer because to actually start to feel it in my chest, we're talking like 6-7 sets. And then, you know, of course, because it's heavy, I'd be resting in between because my thought process was, well, if I rest 5 minutes in between, I can lift this weight again.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
see
the way
what
to
you're
go
saying.
about it. Whereas today, I'll get in the gym, I walk right in, I'll go to the bench, I'll warm up first, but then let's say I go back to incline, and this time I'm actually a little stronger, so I'll start out with like 125 pounds. But there's no chest slamming. There's not even really fast reps. I take about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds each way. Up 2 seconds, down 2 seconds. So if you picture that, slow, controlled motions every time, and make sure that you stretch and flex every time. So let's say when the weight is up,
Fully
'cause-
engaging
Exactly.
all your muscles.
So let's see if I can't kind of describe this. Like
Okay.
when the weight is up, you unrack it. As it comes down to your chest, imagine there's a dotted line coming right down the center of you from your head to like in between your legs, and you fold like a piece of paper. When the weight comes down, I fold backwards, like I'm squeezing my back muscles together in the back, because on the other side, it pops my chest out, and that's a little stretch there. You know, especially when the weight is on top of your hands like that, you feel the stretch. And then when you push up, you go the other way and you squeeze your chest together. It's not just about getting your arms up. Squeeze your chest together, fold inward like a piece of paper, nice and slow, and you flex together. You know, you ever seen the most muscular pose when the guys,
Yeah.
do that under weight? Does that make sense? And you know, you come back down slow and you do the exact same thing. You know, you put the weight down, just adjust the weight. No rest time. That is your rest time. Get right back underneath the weight. I know your muscles are tired. That's the point of the workout. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not what you can lift. It's how strong you are. How you know. It's how good you look for most people anyway. You know, and this will get you there. Shorter rest periods will get you there, and especially considering in my head today, I'm like, man, if I have this and this and this to do, I better be in and out quick. Because if I was younger and I planned to be in the gym like 4 hours, I would never go
Yeah.
today. Because I'm like, man, who has 4 hours?
4 hours,
You know,
exactly.
But if I know today, like I can squeeze out, if I really, really try and I'm by myself, I can squeeze out a killer workout in like 45 minutes. You know, it's almost like cardio at that point, but it's still heavy weight. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that little mental boost of like, okay, I got this. I've got a little bit of time. You know, so do that quickly. Right after that, jump to the very next exercise. Let's say hit that same.
like because lingering is what extends the time.
Well, not just that, but it cools you off, and that extends more time.
Yeah.
So as soon as you're done, hit that same muscle, whatever it is. I'm talking about chest, but you can do anything. Hit that same muscle, but from a different angle. So let's say from there I go to like flies with dumbbells. So I grab some dumbbells, decently light. You know, no need to hurt yourself again. Now, when you lay down on a bench and you kind of extend your arms out, again, pop your chest up. You know, dotted line down the middle. You fold backwards. When you bring them up, fold inwards. Get that flex. This time it actually is a perfect, most muscular pose, and you flex really hard. You know, do that. Drop weight, as in, you know, you're done with your set. Excuse me, and then you rest. Maybe this is my like. I drop the weights for 30 seconds, and then I pick them up like right after that, because the time it takes to get back into position, you know. So my rest period in total is about 40 seconds, because it takes like 10 seconds to pick them up, you know, and lay back down.
Yeah.
And do that again. Do maybe 5 sets of that, 4 sets of that. As soon as you're done, jump to another thing, maybe some cables, you know, and then do sets of that. And the only rest you get with cables, especially because cables is easier, is just moving, you know, take a little thing out from one weight to another weight, slip, slip, and then just hit it again. And if you can keep that, the mental aspect that has had for me too is when you don't sit there and look around, you don't have time to be discouraged by that like really hot chick.
Very
or that,
true.
Right, or that really buff guy that you're like, oh man, I could never get her. I could never look like that. Those thoughts really don't have time to enter your mind. You just lift hard, lift heavy, and you don't like clutter your brain, so to speak, you know?
Because you're just focused.
Exactly. Or you know that kind of stigma where if you're really focused, like if I was playing football with my friends and I get hit by something and it doesn't really hurt, but then I just wake up and I get hit the same way, it really hurts. Mentally, you know, you depending on where you are, things affect you differently. So if you stay focused and stay warm like that, little things don't bother you as much, you know? So if you stay focused, it keeps you from kind of messing up. It keeps you from getting thrown off. So lift really quickly, not really heavy, like really quickly, decently heavy, but form must be perfect. Because if your joints start to hurt, that really discourages you too. You know?
You can just hurt yourself and then you have to like sit out for a while.
Exactly. But even before you hurt yourself, like if I do chest one day and my shoulder's not like hurt, but it's aching or something a little bit.
Yeah.
The next chest day, that's in my head. It doesn't just go away, you know? So it messes with you. So keep your form right. It's never about putting flexion on your on your bones. It's tension on your muscles.
On your muscles.
And if you're lifting too heavy, your body will try to help you with your bones. It's like when you're standing for a long time and you lock your knees, your body's just trying to keep you up, but it's not what you need in order to stay healthy, you know? So kind of reinforce the idea of, I know my body's trying to help me, but I know how we need to do this. Your body's under the impression of whatever it is, whatever size you are right now, your body just wants to keep you there. Not because it's against you, but because it's used to this, and familiar is safe. So your body has one job, and that's to keep you living. So if it's like, hey, look, you know, we have been at this weight doing this much exercise on average for this long now, eating this food. So I understand that under this nutrition, I can maintain this form, and we've never had a problem. So when you start pushing extra, your body's like, whoa, hey, you know, under this nutrition, I told you we can do this, not all this. But you need to, you know, kind of get it to trust you a little bit. I understand that. You're going to be hungry. I'm going to feed you. Don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden it starts adapting. Like, okay, well, now that you're lifting all this weight, I'm going to need to build up your chest a little bit. Only problem is you're going to require more food for that bigger chest. And you're like, you know what? Sweet. No worries. You know, dump down some more food. All of a sudden your body's like, okay, cool. Now I'm used to this. But now if you want to grow more, I'm going to need more from you. I'm going to need more effort, you know? So you kind of kick your body into moving. Your body doesn't want to change. You change it, you know? So I think if you can keep that, I don't really focus too much on music. If music bothers you and people talk to you, this is my little thing, my little secret that my friends, I don't think they know. It's I put headphones on with nothing. My phone's not even in my pocket. My headphones are just in my pocket. But nobody comes to bother me.
Because you got your headphones
Exactly.
on.
And when there's something plugging your ears, you can hear your breath better. That really helps me. Because I can hear
you can hear the rhythm.
Right, exactly.
And stay in focus with your breath.
Exactly.
Your breathing.
And it helps you kind of talk to yourself. Like, I'll look in the mirror, like, you get that negative little second of, man, this is heavy. And they're like, no, don't, you know, let's go. And that it's easier.
Yourself.
Exactly. That's easier when things are quiet. So, you know, put some headphones on if people, not bugging you, but if people talk to you, they're just trying to be nice, but you got to do your thing. There's nothing impolite or wrong about just getting what you need to do done.
Right.
Hey, good to see you. Let me just knock out this set really quick.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You know, keep pushing, be quick about it, but be smart about it. Look up videos. Videos are like 3-4 minutes a pop, and they teach you a ton.
Yeah.
You know, look up form videos. And my golden rule is if the video is over like 6 minutes, then I don't watch it. If I start a video and a guy starts with, hey guys, today we're going to, if I hear like 3 ums, I'm out.
Yeah.
I need consistency. Exactly. I need this guy to get straight to the point. I have no time. So I look up the videos of the guys like Athlete X. He's a great one on YouTube. Callum is a great one. My favorite bodybuilders are good because they lift with perfect form, and you just kind of watch that and just copy to an extent, you know, to what you can.
Exactly.
And you know, it teaches you a lot. You know, getting in the gym and doing it for yourself teaches you a lot. Don't mess with too many supplements. You know, a good protein, a good creatine, lots of water, and a lot of food. Food.
Yeah, just good food.
Exactly. Hit it diligently. That's, you know, that's what it is.
Unless there's reasons like why you're taking these supplements, like,
well, I meant,
you know, but you can get a lot of those vitamins and things that you're taking these supplements for just from food.
Oh yeah. Well, I meant like, I'm not against supplements at all. I just meant make sure that they are supplements, you know, they're supplementing your food intake. Yeah. That's what you need. What I meant by diligent was don't give yourself, like, don't set yourself up for failure. Don't take long rest periods. Don't look around the gym. Hit what you got to do. You'll stay warm. You'll stay focused mentally. You'll be ready physically, you'll save a lot of time, which will keep you focused mentally, because when you know you can hit a workout in half the time that you used to, you're more likely to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Just like, if you're walking a badly behaved dog, you're more likely to do it if it was trained and it's not such a hassle.
Very true.
Right? Mm-hmm. The easier it is mentally, the more you will do it physically. It's a subconscious thing. Get your water intake in, get your food intake in. You'll grow quickly. If this helps, or if you need more tips, let us know. GSMC_health at twitter.com.
Yep.
Let us know. Thanks for listening, guys. We will talk to you next time. You can find us where?
iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and gsmcpodcast.com.
You heard it from Pauline herself.
Pauline myself.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.